Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our Tuesday evening. Last week, I started a new chapter, series, however you'd like to call it, on immunity and our immune system. It's quite a potent little system that we've got over here. And if we treat it well, it will treat us well, because God invented our immune system before man invented medication. And I feel that, this is my opinion, that our immune system works significantly better than most drugs on the market today. But there's always a but. But we have to provide it with the correct tools and to feed it correctly. So last week we covered what is immunity, what is the immune system, how does it work, all the basics. And this week we're going to learn about how do we feed it. So I'm going to share my screen. And just hide all the other bits and pieces. Okay, so as I said, we are covering our immune system, the what, the why, and the how. And this week it's the how to feed it. So nutrition and immunity, or nutrition in immunity, I should say, plays an extremely important role, because if we are not feeding our body correctly, our immune system is going to take strain. So during the flu season, which is pretty much now, or times of illness, people often seek special foods or vitamin supplements that are believed to boost immunity. You always hear these things of boost your immune system. You've got to feed your body to starve. Feed the body to starve a cold, or something along those lines. And it's very, very important that we give our body the correct tools. Now, vitamin C and foods like citrus, chicken soup, and tea with honey are popular examples of things that are always told, sort of old wives' tales, that you need to have these to boost your immune system. The design of our immune system is complex and influenced by an ideal balance of many factors, not just diet, and especially not by any one specific food or nutrient. I don't know about you, but I've had customers who've said, please, can you just give me one tablet to take? I hate taking tablets. Can you not give me one tablet to take that'll do everything? And the general answer, this is as per our SAB member, John, and he says, we could, but you'd never be able to swallow it, because the tablet would be probably about this big. And even then, you probably wouldn't have everything that you need. We don't live on one food. We don't live on broccoli, for instance, and never have anything else. First of all, it'd be a little bit boring. But second of all, you're never going to get everything you need out of broccoli or spinach or steak. We need a variety. So food was developed with a variety, and we need it for specific things. And as we've seen over the years, there's different foods available at different seasons in different climates. And your ideal is to get the foods that are natural to your climate and to the season that it comes to fruition. However, a balanced diet consisting of a range of vitamins and minerals, combined with healthy lifestyle factors like adequate sleep and exercise and low stress, most effectively primes the body to fight infection and disease. So what factors can depress our immune system? We all know about stress, and I can tell from firsthand experience, if my body is stressed and I'm physically and mentally exhausted or tired, that's when I get sick. Generally, I'll be able to handle most things that come my way. But if I'm physically exhausted, both physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted, I get sick. That way, I know my immune system has dropped. So things like stress, age, gender, sleep, climate, mood, training, etc., can all depress the immune system. Older age. So as we age, our internal organs may become less efficient. Immune-related organs, or should I say, immune-related organs like the thymus or bone marrow produce less immune cells needed to fight off infections. Aging is sometimes associated with micronutrient deficiencies as well, which may worsen a declining immune function. Environmental toxins such as smoke and other particles contributing to air pollution, excessive alcohol, etc. These substances can impair or suppress the normal activity of immune cells. Excess weight. Obesity is associated with low-grade chronic inflammation. As we know, with inflammation, where there's inflammation, there's infection or illness. Now, fat tissue produces adipocytokines, big fancy word, don't stress about it, that can promote inflammatory processes. Research is early, but obesity has also been identified as an independent risk factor for the influenza virus, possibly due to the impaired function of T cells, which are a type of white blood cell, which is what we learned about last week. Now, remember that the flu virus and the coronavirus have similar properties and similar actions. Who were those that were getting sick, more sick, and dying? Those who were older and those who are overweight. Not necessarily older, but overweight and diabetics were and are the greatest at risk. So one needs to be careful. Poor diet, malnutrition, or a diet lacking in one or more nutrients can impair the production and activity of immune cells and antibodies. And this part I found to be quite interesting because with my late brother-in-law, he died a few years ago from lung cancer, unfortunately. Never smoked a day in his life before, but worked on a campsite where there was bad, or should I say, a lot of old paint with a lot of lead in it, as well as roof sheeting that was old and rotten and infected. And he was working with that before he got his lung cancer. Now, this guy lived on chocolate. He was a chocoholic. So he loved anything sugar or chocolate, which obviously impaired his immune system. Now, when he got sick, he started to go off wanting to have chocolate and sugar as much. And his body started to change to the effect that he was craving things that he would never normally be eating, which was all an indication of his body saying, listen, I need help. And I need these foods to get the tools that I need to try and fight this thing. Sadly, he did lose his fight, but he put up a good fight while he was still around. Chronic diseases are another factor, and autoimmune and immunodeficiency disorders attack and potentially disable immune cells. Autoimmune being things like arthritis, for instance, and immunodeficiency being things like HIV. Chronic mental stress. Stress releases hormones like cortisol that suppress inflammation, and inflammation is initially needed to activate immune cells. and the action of white blood cells. So by releasing the extra cortisol and suppressing the inflammation, the bugs, for want of any better terminology, can now run rampant and they can break through the defenses. Lack of sleep and rest. Sleep is a time of restoration for the body, during which a type of cytokine is released that fights infection. Too little sleep lowers the amount of these cytokines and other immune cells. And this is the reason why if somebody is extremely ill or they've been exposed or suffered massive trauma, the doctors will put them into a drug-induced coma. So in other words, they force the body to sleep and to rest, to give it as much chance as necessary to recover. During COVID, I was extremely exhausted. And it was the worst part for me was not having any energy. Yet by sleeping, that immediately made me feel better. Getting up and going to sit outside in the fresh air and sunshine also made me feel better. So it was just little things like this. Sleep is so vital. If you've undergone massive surgery, you'll notice that you want to sleep more. And often people say, I don't understand. All I want to do is sleep. And I say, that is fine, because that is your body's way of healing. So don't underestimate sleep. So does an immune boosting diet exist? We always talk about boost your immune system. Now, eating enough nutrients as part of a varied diet is required for the health and function of all cells, including the immune cells. Certain dietary patterns may better prepare the body for microbial attacks and excess inflammation, but it is unlikely that individual foods offer special protection. So we need a combination of these things. Each stage of the body's immune response relies on the presence of many micronutrients. Examples of nutrients that have been identified as critical for the growth and function of immune cells include vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, selenium, iron, and protein, including the amino acid glutamine. And that is why it is so essential to have a protein shake whenever you're having all the other things when you are sick. Because, as Dr. Don Lawson always used to say, the protein is the part that brings everything together. So you can have your vitamin C, you can have your D, you can have your zinc, you can have all the other bits and pieces. But by bringing the protein in, it's like a general commanding an army. You've got your non-commissioned officers, you've got your officers, and each one's doing their own little thing, but you need somebody to oversee the whole bigger picture to bring them together to make an effective fighting squad. And that is what protein does. And they are found in a variety of plant and animal foods, both the vitamins and the minerals. And diets that are limited in variety and lower in nutrients, such as consisting primarily of ultra-processed foods, junk food, and lacking in minimally processed foods, can, in other words, normal food, can negatively affect a healthy immune system. It is also believed that a Western diet high in refined sugar and red meat and low in fruits and vegetables can promote disturbances in healthy intestinal microorganisms, resulting in chronic inflammation of the gut and associated suppressed immunity. Remember, your gut is an essential part of the immune system. If that gut, apologies, if the gut microbiome is out of whack, you are going to get sick significantly more easily than if it's working correctly. Microbiome is an internal metropolis of trillions of microorganisms or microbes that live in our bodies, mostly in the intestines. It is an area of intense and active research as scientists are finding that the microbiome plays a key role in immune function. So if your gut is not happy, you are not going to be happy. The gut is a major site of immune activity and the production of antimicrobial proteins. If you want to know more about the gut and how it works, specifically about how the acidophilus works, do yourself a favor, go into the back office or look for Nearlife U, which is a sort of Nearlife University. It's free courses that are offered by Nearlife, a little bit more in depth, sort of like what I'm doing now, but better still because we've got the SAV members presenting facts and figures. And there's an excellent presentation there, or little test, for want of any better terminology, or course that you can do on the gut and acidophilus. Once you complete that course, you can actually print up a little certificate to put on your wall and brag about the fact that you've passed this course on protein and acidophilus, amongst other things. The diet plays a large role in determining what kinds of microbes live in our intestines. A high-fiber, plant-rich diet with plenty of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes appear to support the growth and maintenance of beneficial microbes. Does this little recipe sound familiar with any of our products? Certain helpful microbes break down fibers into short-chain fatty acids, which have been shown to stimulate immune cell activity. These fibers are sometimes called prebiotics because they feed microbes. Therefore, a diet containing probiotic and prebiotic foods may be beneficial. Probiotic foods contain live, helpful bacteria, and prebiotic foods contain fiber and oligosaccharides that feed and maintain healthy colonies of those bacteria. Remember, bacteria is something that's alive, scary as that thought is that it's all inside you, that has to live, and for an organism to live, it needs food. We obviously have the big stuff, but these little things need the small stuff. And your good bacteria needs the fiber and the good sugars to thrive and to reproduce. The bad bacteria just needs sugar to thrive and reproduce. So the next million-dollar question: do vitamin or herbal supplements actually help? Immune boosting supplements are all over the internet, but can they really keep you healthy? A deficiency of single nutrients can alter the body's immune response. So just a single nutrient that's not there can cause an imbalance. Animal studies have found that deficiencies in zinc, selenium, iron, copper, folic acid, and vitamins A, B6, C, D, and E can alter immune responses. So if you're missing any of these things, well, you are probably going to be in trouble. These nutrients help the immune system in several ways, working as an antioxidant to protect healthy cells, supporting growth and activity of immune cells, and producing antibodies. So they all work together. This is a team. Just like in our business, we have teams working together. So does the vitamins, minerals work together in our system as a team. Epidemiological studies find that those who are poorly nourished are at greater risk of bacterial, viral, and other infections. Eating a good quality diet, as depicted by the healthy eating plate, can prevent deficiencies in these nutrients. However, there are certain populations and situations in which one cannot always eat a variety of nutritious foods, or who have increased nutrient needs. Remember those who have autoimmune problems, or those who live in an area where there's a massive drought happening. So a lot of the nutrients that they're needing are not available. Think of people who are in these war-torn countries where they can't get proper foods. They are malnourished. In these cases, a vitamin and mineral supplement may help to fill the nutritional gaps. Remember, of course, that a supplement is exactly that. It's in conjunction to a balanced diet. So diet is your key number one. If you are not getting any of these things from your diet, you need to get it from a supplement. But not all supplements are the right thing. Remember, the best type of supplement, like the best type of diet, whole foods. So for a supplement to work correctly, it needs to be made from food. Synthetic supplements are not as effective. Studies have shown that vitamin supplementation can improve immune responses in these groups. And I can say from firsthand experience that vitamin supplementation, when done correctly, can definitely improve my immune response. Low-income households, pregnant and lactating women, infants and toddlers, and the critically ill are examples of groups at risk. Critically ill would mean people who maybe are in hospital with pneumonia, cardiac conditions, cancer, diabetes, etc. The elderly are a particularly high-risk group. The immune response generally declines with increasing age as the number and quality of immune cells decreases. This causes a higher risk of poorer outcomes if the elderly develop chronic or acute diseases. Chronic meaning long-term, acute meaning short. In addition, about 1/3 of elderly in industrialized countries have nutrient deficiencies. That's quite scary. Some reasons include a poorer appetite due to chronic diseases, depression, or loneliness, multiple medications that can interfere with nutrient absorption and appetite, malabsorption due to intestinal issues, and increased nutrient needs due to hypermetabolic states with acute or chronic conditions. Now, I'm not going to get into all the politics and everything, but just by looking at this little comment over here, can you see how much harm was actually done through this lockdown, especially with elderly people who were virtually locked in their bedrooms, not allowed outside, given the sad diet, not being able to see loved ones, and usually on multiple medications. It is no wonder that the numbers were as sad as what they were. Diet variety may also be limited due to budget constraints. Anybody gone shopping for healthy organic food recently? Or low interest in cooking for one person? If you've ever lived on your own, how do you feel about cooking a big 3-course meal for yourself? Poor dentition, mental impairment, or lack of transportation and community resources to obtain the healthy food. Thank goodness, 2 of our major shops have recently introduced deliveries. That has made such a big difference. A general multivitamin and mineral supplement providing the recommended dietary allowances may be used in these cases unless otherwise directed by one's physician. Just a little aside, maybe find a physician who is clued up on supplementation. Megadose supplements, meaning many times the RDA, do not appear justified and can sometimes be harmful or even suppress the immune system in things like zinc and vitamin A, for instance. You don't want too much. Too much of anything can be bad for you. We can't live without oxygen, but too much oxygen will kill you. We can't live without water. Too much water will kill you. Same with supplements. We can't live without them, but too much can probably cause a lot more harm. Remember that vitamin supplements should not be considered a substitute for a good diet because no supplements contain all the benefits of healthful foods. Well, this was obtained from a generalized blog that I found, and I don't think they've met Neolife yet. So, 8 steps to support a healthy immune system. If you've ever watched Louis Smith's 7 Best Doctors or 8 Best Doctors, go and have a look for it on YouTube. It's very interesting. So number 1, we need to eat a balanced diet, whole fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, and plenty of water. Sound familiar? A Mediterranean diet is one option that includes these types of foods. If a balanced diet is not readily available, taking a multivitamin containing the RDA for several nutrients may be used. Don't smoke or stop smoking if you do. The only time you should be smoking is if you're on fire. Drink alcohol in moderation, or preferably not at all. Perform moderate, regular exercise. Get out, take a walk around the garden, sniff the roses. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Try to keep a sleep schedule, waking up and going to bed around the same time each day. Our body clock or circadian rhythm regulates feelings of sleepiness and wakefulness. So having a consistent sleep schedule maintains a balanced circadian rhythm so that we can enter deeper, more restful sleep. And this is why people often get sick when they travel and they suffer from jet lag. We need to aim to manage stress. This is easier said than done, but try to find some healthy strategies that work well for you and your lifestyle. What works for me? Park run or a jog around the block. Whether that be exercise, meditation, particular hobby, or talking to a trusted friend. Another tip is to practice regular, conscious breathing throughout the day. When feelings of stress arise, it doesn't have to be long. Even a few breaths can help. Who knew you had to learn to breathe? And you need to wash hands throughout the day. When coming in from outdoors, before and after preparing and eating food, after using the toilet, after coughing or blowing your nose. And this was all reinforced dramatically over the last couple of years. And this is where I'm going to end this talk tonight because we only have about 6 minutes left. So I'm going to stop sharing. Does anybody have any questions on diet, food, etc.? Please unmute yourself and ask away before I end the recording.
Hi, Sean, can I say something, please?
Yeah, go.
You know, before I joined Neolife, I thought I was eating okay. So I think it's correct, and maybe the team will agree with me, that the average person on the street don't know what is the correct way of eating and food. So
Right.
That's why we've got a huge responsibility not to sell, but to share the knowledge that we have with them so that they can decide what they need or what they lack in their diet. Sometimes people don't like it, but I always mention we have to take ownership of our health. Thank you
Correct.
very much. Well done. You did an excellent show.
Thank you very much. Yes, education is key. John, Debbie?
Can I say something?
Well done, Sean. That is very interesting. Sean I've heard it might be an old wives' tale, but don't go outside if it's cold without any shoes on, because you can catch pneumonia or a cold because your feet can compromise your immune system. How offbeat is that one?
Yes, or the other favorite one, I'm cold, go put a jersey on.
Yes.
Yeah, and it is to a certain extent an urban myth that you can catch cold by not wearing a jersey or getting wet and sitting in a draft. But part of the reason for that would be that it is a shock to your system. So it might not be stress as we understand stress, but it does stress your system, which obviously then lowers your immune system. So it is more easy to pick up a virus and be affected by it.
Last week you said that stress can actually kill a T cell. So that's the memory store that you've got there. So
Correct.
I think it's super important that we listen to what you've just told us to keep those T cells going. Well done. Very interesting. Thank you, Sean.
It's quite a fascinating topic.
It
It
is.
is very.
Let me quit
Thank you,
recording.
Sean.